What is up, For Honor brothers and sisters? In the last of the For Honor hero classes overview, I will be covering the hybrids as I try to help you find the next hero you try, or possibly discover something interesting about another hero that will help you have a more fun experience in the game, and in some rare team matches, even domination. So in its current state, For Honor has 14 hybrids: Centurion, Lawbringer, Gryphon, Valkyrie, Highlander, Nobushi, Aramusha, Kyoshin, Shaolin, Zhanhu, Pirate, Medjay, Afeera, and Ocelotl. It's the most out of any of the other class, the hybrids. 14 of them out of 34 total heroes. That's just about triple the amount of vanguards, double the amount of assassins, and almost double the amount of the heavies. It's crazy. The hybrids are the get in where you fit in class, where they usually combine elements from two other hero classes that help make up who they are. Lawbringer, for instance, is a mix of a heavy and a vanguard, while Shaolin is a mix of assassin and vanguard. There's a lot to like about the hybrid class because there is so much variety. Like the other classes, they each have a pretty distinctive personality that makes figuring out which hero fits into your style a little easier to detect. We have a lot of heroes to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with Centurion. Centurion is a member of the Knight faction, labeled as a melee specialist and mix-up intensive in main part to not only having variable opener heavies, but also a variable bash off of hit or miss. Cent is gender locked, and there are no hero skins for this hero at this point. I will say Cent is a combination of heavy and vanguard hero based on his style of play. If you like bullies, then look in Cent's direction and you may find your match. Cent has some fun tools to work with, as you really feel like you're punishing your enemy with kicks, punches, and attacks. He can throw you and then follow up with a quick kick to possibly ledge you, and at worst, provide additional damage based on his tier 2 feat. He has Equals Talon, where he can jump on a down opponent, which is always fun to do. If you haven't done it, make sure you do it, especially when he waves them on like get up, get up. His charge unblockable heavy attack pins that can set up an opponent to come in and attack, and also allows Cent to threaten with his jab or a charge jab that can knock the opponent to the ground. Parry counters initiate Cent's onslaught as well. It's actually a fun moveset that matches the personality of the hero very well. For team fights, Cent can work in sequence with other heroes, whether that's using his tier 3 Pugio to halt a hero from moving for a teammate or yourself, or saving your teammate in a must-win team fight with Phalanx, which provides temporary shields. The tier 2 has many possibilities, but Haymaker is a great choice to actually provide damage from the many bashes that Cent employs. So if you're looking to perform some controlled aggression with a bully type character that feels really rewarding with every parry or downed opponent, choose Cent and be satisfied. Next, we'll discuss Lawbringer. Lawbringer is a part of the Knight faction. Lawbringer is gender locked, has no hero skins at this time, and labeled as a counterattacker and disabler. Now, Lawbringer is a mood, y'all. When I think of the Knight faction, Warden and Lawbringer come to mind first, with Conk third. They just fit what I would think of when I think of Knights. He also has some really fun emotes that people have fun with. Now, with his moveset, one thing you will see Lawbringers try to do in team fights is using his move called the long arm to unbalance you, which is another word for flipping you to the ground. If this happens with a Cent and a Yorm around, be ready to be pounced on. His impaling riposte doesn't feel the same and seems a little clunky since it's guaranteed on light parries, but can be blocked on heavy parries. The positive is he still can go zone or guaranteed light after parries that gets you quickly into more offense. He does have a bash you can utilize, and you cancel the startup of the forward dodge with an attack, which is different than other heroes. His attacks are enhanced that help him sustain offense, with his heavy finisher being unblockable. When we're looking at team fight, Lawbringer's team fight benefit is primarily his employment of grenades. However, in team fights, his Juggernaut tier 2 can come in handy, making him tougher to bring down while his attacks are uninterruptible. There is definitely a chance for variation by mixing and matching, depending on how you want to play this hero, but you definitely want to choose those grenades and let them fly all over the battlefield, because his tier 4 has like 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them that you can use. So if you're looking for an imposing figure that still likes to have a good time, give Lawbringer some of your time. Next, we'll discuss Gryphon. Now, Gryphon is a part of the Knight faction. Gryphon is gender locked, has no hero skins at this time, and is labeled as support and versatile. Gryphon was a nomad, so as you see, or you will see with his kit and fashion, he incorporates moves that you will see used on other heroes. Some veteran players will remember not being too happy with the reuse of animations at the time, but I appreciate the creativity in trying to create almost like a Frankenstein-like monster if they had to, based on the resources that they had to work with. We have to understand that. And it turns out Gryphon is a fun hero for all players, and he's easy to pick up for newer players. Now Gryphon's moveset, Gryphon has an array of dodge moves as he is able to perform 4 dodge lights and heavy similar to Kensei and JJ. His finisher light is undodgeable, and what makes it so threatening is because Gryphon has the option to use his kick to get a guaranteed heavy. He has a bash that is Lawbringer-esque and provides a guaranteed light off of that, and he also can get double lights to get right into his finisher like Warden. If out of lock and running into a fight, you can unbalance a hero with Dauntless Chase just like Lawbringer would do with Long Arm. So you can see the inspirations they took from other heroes with Gryphon's kit. A positive for Gryphon in team fights is he gains an uninterruptible stance on his first attack after a parry. So don't worry about someone interrupting you with an attack. They can still bash you though, you gotta keep that in mind. Now Gryphon is an outstanding support hero, just look at his feats. He can lower an enemy's attack with his tier 1, he can heal with his tier 2, and heals yourself and teammates while applying damage to opponents with his tier 3 and tier 4. He has some great tools to stay in the fight a little longer and keep others in the fight if used effectively. If you're looking for a balanced hero with a buffet of abilities from other heroes, grab Gryphon and go have a great time. Alright, so next let's go over Valk. So Valkyrie is a part of the Viking faction. Valkyrie is gender locked, has no hero skins at this time, and is labeled as adaptable and a disabler. Now Valkyrie feels like a combination of assassin and vanguard. She plays with good pace and has a little of a lot of things, but there's nothing you can overly attach to as her bread and butter. That fits her adaptable nature. While she can be offensive, she can also disable your attack with crushing counters, which is superior block light attacks in her case, and full guard. Now for Valkyrie's moveset, Valkyrie can perform all variations of light and heavy attacks in her 3-hit chain. She also has the ability to feint her heavy into her full guard, which she can perform her shield tackle out of or cancel out of it. She has a deflect that pins, causes bleed, and is a chain opener. I believe she should be able to go into sweep after that, but that's another debate for another video another day. She has enhanced side and force dodge light attacks that allow her to continue her attack, and she has the option to sweep her opponents instead of her normal chain finisher, which guarantees a quick follow-up heavy. Valkyrie's teamfight benefits are her shield tackle, and related feats that assist her well are Scout, to find all heroes, which most people don't use, I'll tell you that right now, Fire Flash, Bear Traps, which she can set across the battlefield, but most of her feats serve her individually first, then secondarily, they help the team. So if you're looking for a versatile hero with quick strike nature of an assassin, Valk should be a part of your rotation of heroes. Next we'll discuss Highlander. Highlander is part of the Viking faction. Highlander is gender locked, has an Oathkeeper Maddox hero skin to add to the fashion options, and is labeled as a technical fighter with 2 combat forms. Now Highlander plays as a heavy and vanguard, but he's just so unique. With his moveset, I will always commend Highlander mains, as I think he is one of the toughest heroes to master, in part due to his different stances. Highlander can go from defensive stance, which he neutrally is always in, to offensive stance that you can enter from neutral now based on recent changes. Highlander's kit is expansive. It really is similar to learning 2 heroes in one. Not only that you need to know how to counter other heroes, it is a challenge, but once you figure it out, he's as fun as any. Unblockables, kick, and caber toss are in his offensive form, but no parrying or blocking in offensive form. This means dodging is your friend, and with his recent changes, that's not so bad. Defensive form, you can block, superior block light attack, parry, guard break, and all heavy attacks that have uninterruptible stance. He has a dodge heavy attack, he can kick, he can feint the kick into caber toss, which tosses your opponent to the ground and provides you a free heavy. You can really see the benefits in dipping in and out of each form, and he's much more fluid in and out after the changes. And also, dodge attacks can be performed from either form. When it comes to Highlander and his teamfight benefits, his tier 4 Fire Flask or arrows and his tier 2 Inspire are his most team-based feats. However, he's always threatening with his offensive form, being able to throw an unblockable from the neutral state at any moment or feint it into a few more options. So if you're looking for a fun challenge in learning a new hero that is very satisfying results and a high skill ceiling, add Highlander to your rotation of heroes to play. Next, we'll discuss Nobushi. Nobushi is part of the Samurai faction. Nobushi is gender locked, has no hero skins at this time, and is labeled a long-range hero with versatile retreats. If you pick 2 classes for Nobushi, I would say Vanguard and Assassin in that order, but she's so much more Vanguard than Assassin. Now, you guys might even be able to correct me on this. I'm a Nobushi main, but I was just trying to find something else, and I only went with Assassin because with Assassins, she is a little quicker than what I would say a heavy would be. That's why I didn't want to go heavy, but with her damage numbers, sometimes people complain about that. You can see that. Let's continue. So Nobushi is one of my favorite heroes, and I'm biased, I'm a Nobushi main, but I say she is because unlike a lot of heroes that can quickly get their offense off because of a bash opener, she can't. An opponent can literally turtle up and make life hell for her. And that's why she's not the greatest in duels. She doesn't have a soft feint opener like PK or Shaman, or can go uninterruptible after feint, or on a second attack like Berserker. And those are just examples of heroes that also don't have an opener. But they have better options to open up an opponent. Nobushi is elegant, fluid, and if you learn how to defend and counter other heroes, it makes playing her that much more fun and rewarding. With Nobushi and her kit, it's all about distance and using her bleed to make the next attack on her opponent do more damage. It's called Way of the Shark. She has a hidden stance move that has dodge properties like Jang Jun's Sifu's Poise, but Nobushi has more options out of her stance that she can simply dodge out of it, dodge heavy attack out of it, kick, throw an undodgeable heavy, or if she lands a light, it is considered her chain light and she gets a guaranteed 3rd light for bleed. She has undodgeable heavy finishers, she can kick after her finishers, Viper's Retreat offers an attack that allows her to keep her distance while applying damage. She definitely can be a nuisance out there when players are trying to close the distance on her, and her zone gives this flowy hero soft feint dodge canceling options as well. Her team fight benefit is her bleed. If she kicks an opponent, she gets a free light that applies bleed. This assists teammates like Peacekeeper and Shaman. She can drop a smoke bomb in a team fight that keeps an opponent from seeing your guard direction for a short period of time, and that can be helpful. And she has the ability to heal and fire trap with her tier 4. So if you like heroes with rhythm and flow and have just a natural elegance to them, add Nobushi to your hero rotation, y'all. You will not be sorry if you haven't already. Next, we'll get into Aramusha. Now, Aramusha is a part of the Samurai faction. Aramusha is gender locked, has no hero skins at this time of this video, and is labeled as a fast attacking, feigning, and counterattack hero. All valid. I look at Aramusha as an assassin, heavy, with his quick darting attacks, but also he feels like a juggernaut that allow him to tank, so that's why I say assassin heavy. Aramusha is one of the heroes that once you get put in his blender, you can quickly become a hero smoothie. And I'm not joking with that. I am joking, but you know what I'm saying. He's a fun hero to play with the use of all his soft feints, full block recovery and cancel move, and the timely use of his opener will be the difference in your success. Now, as far as Aramusha's moveset, Aramusha possesses 4 dodge heavy for chase that he can cancel into a bash. All heavy openers from any side can also be canceled into bash that he can continue his attack off of. A bonus with Aramusha is if you miss an attack, it's not a bad thing because likely he can blade blockade to cancel the recovery and put you back on the offensive. That's where the counterattack of his nature comes in. You can kick unblockable side heavy or unblockable top light off of blade blockade. The light does the most damage, keep that in mind. You can also continue your attack afterwards. Aramusha has a zone where the second hit is unblockable and feintable. Aramusha's team fight benefits comes from his bash that works as a pin. It does pin the opponent because he bops him, keeps him in place for a second. He has feats like Fear itself and Health Banner that he can choose for his tier 4. Flaming arrows that could help a fighter like Zhanhu get more damage if Zhanhu is using their tier 3. And Juggernaut for himself to tank through opponents. So if you're looking for a well-paced quick strike hero with good fashion, see how Aramusha fits into your playstyle. Next, we'll talk about Kyoshin. Kyoshin is part of the Samurai faction. He is gender locked, has no hero skins, and is labeled as a counter attacker and highly defensive hero. Kyoshin sits in that Vanguard heavy with a sprinkle of assassin realm for me. You don't want to attack carelessly around a Kyoshin or they will have their way with you and feed off of it, thanks to their feats to induce punishment to your teammates as well. Now for Kyoshin's moveset, his light attack openers have superior block. Both his light and heavy finishers are undodgeable. His Kaze stance fuels him to go from defense to offense fluidly and provides Kyoshin with options on top of that. So attack recoveries outside of melees and Kaze attacks can be canceled with Kaze stance. So be careful when you dodge attack, his initial attack, because it may cut you in the form of Fujin cuts. Definitely gonna get hit with that, which he can perform 3 hits after a successful block, or you can perform an unblockable top heavy attack. His team fight benefit is Kyoshin's feats give him bleed properties and can help him regain health. So those are boosts right there. His tier 4 pins opponents in the area caught by it, seizing them into place, allowing teammates to line up their opponents like a steel piñata. He also has fear itself, which can lower opponents' defenses around him. If you are a more defensive-minded player that likes trying to make your opponents think about their next steps, run Kyoshin on the battlefield a few times, even as a change of pace. Alright, next let's get into Shaolin. So Shaolin is part of the Wulin faction. Shaolin is gender locked and has a fantastic hero skin in the Monkey King Wukong, and is labeled as a highly mobile hero. That's what it says, highly mobile, just leave it at that. Shaolin is an assassin and a vanguard mix in my opinion, but more assassin than anything else. And Shaolin is just simply a fun hero to play. With his moveset, Shaolin has a key stance that, unlike Highlander, he can't move around in this form. But he has an array of moves that can be performed out of it, including an undodgeable top and side heavy, kick, and light attacks. These moves can lead to a sweep attack that is feintable, and Shaolin can get guaranteed heavies after a sweep. He can go into his key stance after attacks, forcing opponents to be conscious of what could be coming next. Now Shaolin's team fight benefit is his sweep can be a big benefit in a team fight, especially if you have a Yorm or Sin around, since it unbalances the opponent. Most of his feats help him first and then the team second, like he has an ability to quickly join a teammate in battle or escape an outnumbered situation quickly with his tier 4 blessed projection. Invigorate can heal himself and nearby allies after each attack from key stance, so keep that in mind when you have teammates with low health. They may see you as trying to feed revenge, but you're trying to help them heal, and hopefully they realize it and stop attacking. If a fun hero with style and athleticism is what you want to feel when you're on the battlefield, you can't go wrong with Shaolin. Next, we'll get into Zhanhu. So Zhanhu is part of the Wulin faction. This hero is not gender locked, does not have a hero skin, but did have some armor you could surprisingly loot during the Theater of Bones event. It was deemed a mistake by the devs, but allowed players to keep it if they got it. Now, you can't change the pattern of it, but it's still a nice get for players that played during the event. You needed to be able to get legendary gear for your Zhanhu in order to get it. Zhanhu is labeled as a counterattacker, dodge attack specialist. I think Zhanhu fits the vanguard and heavy categories. For his moveset, Zhanhu is a straightforward hero. Has a forward dodge bash, light and heavy attack that are enhanced to continue attack. Has superior block properties on light and heavy attacks, but the top heavy attack are only guaranteed on certain heroes, and I'm talking about that superior block heavy attack. It's only guaranteed on heroes like Conk, Lawbringer, Warlord, Highlander, Shigoki, and Orochi. And as far as I know, it's not confirmed on any Wulin or Outlander hero. You can cancel any of your recovery attacks with a dodge, and that's a bonus with Zhanhu. Now for team fights, Zhanhu has a tier 4 that can light up the battlefield, but his unique feats primarily are for his survival and damage. Zhanhu's tier 3 enhances the tier 1 and tier 2 if an opponent is burning. The issue is there aren't many other heroes that can get a hero burning, unless it's a tier 3 arrow from Aramusha like I mentioned earlier, or a tier 4 fire flash that does massive damage anyway and will burn you also if in it. It still can be useful in spots. If you're looking for a hero that's defensive but is less rigid and has more flow than a Kyoshin, give Zhanhu a shot. Next up is Pirate. Now Pirate is part of the Outlanders faction. This is the first time we're covering the Outlanders faction, and I'm gonna give you, just want to talk about that for a little bit here. The Outlanders faction was the first faction that really embraces heroes not centric to a group or area. One thing the devs mentioned also at the onset of the Outlanders was that they will always be hybrids. So I don't expect any assassins, vanguards, or heavy hybrids to ever grace the battlefield. And the good thing about it is, we will still have diverse heroes of rich cultural backgrounds to take in. Now back to Pirate. When you see a hero with a flintlock or a pistol, let's just say pistol on the field, you begin to think, how do I defend against that? But the devs did a good job with Pirate eventually. Let's say eventually. So Pirate is gender locked. There is a hero skin for Pirate, the Inquisitor Yenshin, and it's pretty nice. I actually like it a lot. Pirate is labeled as a counterattacker and mix-up intensive. Always keep what these heroes are built for in mind and your playstyle. When you go out and play them and you're like, this sucks, or this hero's not OP, or this hero is not good in this situation, remember what they're built for, everybody. You gotta remember that. But I think Pirate is a mix of vanguards and heavies, as she has the ability to tank contact while getting her offense off along with her basic set. So going over Pirate's moveset, Pirate has an uninterruptible forward dodge unblockable, but don't worry, it's not as bad as you think. You can work around it in other ways. Now Pirate moves quite well on the battlefield, dodging between opponents with her side dodge heavy attacks. She has a pistol blast that can be performed after heavy attack and actually serves as a chain starter so she can continue attacking. Chain lights are undodgeable, and something unique about Pirate is the ability to use your feats instead of your pistol blast within chain, and that's awesome. Now speaking of chain heavy attacks are uninterruptible. She also has a move called Walk the Plank, which is an unblockable that can be performed after any attack. So talk about pressure in a team fight. Now, talking about the team fight benefits, let's talk about that. She can obviously threaten with the unblockables, either forward dodge or empty light into unblockable, and her uninterruptible chain heavy attacks are a definite problem for foes in team fights. What about her feats? Let's focus on the uniques. She can fire a bullet with her tier 1 that also lowers defense. Her tier 2 tosses a pocket bomb to do some AoE damage. Her tier 3 has her firing a bullet that ricochets, dealing damage to multiple heroes and applying bleed. You hear that, PK and Shaman? Also Nobu players. And her tier 4 is a larger AoE bomb that deals damage and knocks enemies to the ground. Perfect for Yorms and Scents to take advantage of. So know who you're with and how you can help your teammates be successful, because that can play a role in elevating her feats. So if you want a weightier hero, I'd like to call her a weightier hero that still has good movement, enjoy playing with unblockables, and or just enjoy having a hero with a pistol on a battlefield, then don't hesitate to choose Pirate in your next outing. Next up is Medjay. Medjay is part of the Outlander faction. This hero is gender locked. There are no hero skins for Medjay as of this video and is labeled versatile with 2 combat modes. 2 combat modes. Sound familiar? Almost like offensive defensive form for Highlander. Now, Medjay is a cross between heavy and assassin, and it's pretty clear based on his 2 stances, but he leans more so on the heavy side. His 2 combat modes of staff and axe make him unique, as players have the freedom to alternate between modes, which now can be done quickly given the recently added nomad swings. That's a move that they added to his set. Now, for his moveset, Medjay's 2 modes are a little more leveled out, as the devs added an undodgeable finisher light to his axe mode, while also taking away the uninterruptible finisher light in staff mode. His heavy chain and finisher attacks are still uninterruptible in staff mode. You definitely want to be in staff mode in mid, as he mows down minions with ease in staff mode. Now this mode also works well in team fights if used well, but make sure to use axe mode also, as you're able to use your bash to initiate your offense. And with that, you can get a free light, opening up the chance for another bash, or getting to your unblockable heavy. Now Medjay's team fight benefits: he has a great move that pins and allows for those breezy ganks to take place with his grab from staff mode. His unique feats also will play a role in your success. If you get a takedown in staff stance, you gain damage reduction for the tier 1, lower opponent's defense for the tier 2 on a melee hit, heal yourself and nearby allies for your tier 3, and throw an AoE bomb out similar to Pirate's tier 4 from Medjay's tier 4, and that's when you're in staff stance. In axe stance, after a takedown for your tier 1, you get an attack buff, lower opponent's attack on bash for the tier 2, heal only yourself greatly for your tier 3, and throw your axes out for high damage for your tier 4. A lot of people use that more so than the staff stance AoE bomb, honestly, because most people will try to dodge out and avoid it, but that axe is very fast and it does massive damage. Medjay's unique feats grant you so much flexibility on how you want to go about helping your teammates on the battlefield, and also when you choose to help yourself. It's a genius way of application by the devs, and I love how they did his kit, and I wouldn't mind seeing more heroes have things like this. Now, if you're looking for a mode switching hybrid, not named Highlander, who has variety but not overly difficult to pick up and play, then choose Medjay. Just know it will take a little time to completely master him, but it's not overly complicated to work towards. Next, we have Afeera. Afeera is part of the Outlander faction. This is a gender-locked hero. There is no hero skin at the moment for this hero, and Afeera is labeled as Relentless Rushdown and Mix-Up Intensive. I see Afeera as a cross between Assassin and Vanguard, with more Assassin than Vanguard, and no truer words is in that description than Relentless. Afeera is relentless, and I believe she has one of the best kits in the game, 100% bar none. She has it all. She's agile, she can counter you, she can hunt you down, she can threaten you with an unblockable, she has multiple types of bashes, she does and can do it all. As for her moveset, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but a unique feature about Afeera is her heavy finisher is different based on the direction you throw it, giving the player a lot of power to choose how they want to punish. The control is in you. Think your opponent is going to dodge? Throw out a top heavy, which is undodgeable. Did you GB your opponent and there's a wall to your right? Throw out a left heavy that will stagger the opponent into the wall so you can continue your attack, and the right heavy is undodgeable. Also, heavy finishers are faster after melee moves. She's just amazing. And that's just the heavy finishers. She can chase down opponents with knockout punch or one of her feats. She can cancel her bash. She has a kick bash that you can throw after a chain starter. I mean, come on. It's like they emptied the house on her. So much goodness to play with and master and figure out when you can use them in heated situations. Throw on top of all that, she has superior block on light attacks and dodges. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. So Afeera's team fight benefits, I'm gonna focus on her unique feats, because her unique feats can help in team fights since she is always tossing her tier 1 and tier 3 will toss her opponent, and her tier 3 actually confirms the next attack. So even though you do a toss with a tier 1, yeah, you do a little damage, but the tier 3 you do that and your attack is confirmed. Her tier 2 gives her a defensive buff after landing an attack for a short time, and her tier 4 has her tosser shield that will ricochet, inflicting damage and lower defense of targets within range. She's a threat in 1v1s or 4s, and if you want a nimble hero with an abundance of tools to work with and master, there's no better choice than Afeera. Now on to the last one. The last hybrid we're going to go over is Ocelotl. So Ocelotl is part of the Outlander faction. Ocelotl is gender locked. There is no hero skin for this hero, but the fashion is pretty solid for Ocelotl. This hero is labeled as a disabler and ganker properly. I see Ocelotl as a Vanguard heavy combination. Ocelotl is the type of hero you could go in, smash some buttons, and probably will come out with a clip that makes it look like you did something special. Now, I'm a fan of his kit, and I feel like he is a hero that is very dangerous in the right hands. And even when he's not, he's still dangerous because of what he can string together. Now, with this kit, Ocelotl has an infinite alternating chain between not only his lights and heavies, but also his zone, which gives him different timings on attacks for foes to be aware of. I love that. He has a double bash in his kit where he can go like any attack, bash. If he wants to sustain his attack, he can just light after the bash and continue the onslaught. So there's options there. He's not complicated to learn, and believe most experienced players can pick him up and have him figured out within a rep. It's always the little nuances when in team fights and what you can get away with against other heroes that take the time to master. For his team fight benefits, Ocelotl feats are pretty cool, to put it mildly. He has a tier 1 that allows him to become a spirit when he dies, allowing him to quickly transition to points on the map and respawn in variable levels of health to help a teammate in a fight or retreat back to the zone. Now, this is a problem when you don't own the zones and can leave your teammates at a disadvantage as you wait to get enough health to regain an advantage. His tier 2 provides extra damage done to those that take you down and their location is revealed. I don't see this as a great feat at all, y'all. But you use that at your leisure. But knowing where you are in the field after you take me out, okay, that's like whatever. I can see if it was like some type of big team battle, that might come into play. But in 4s on a big map, I don't think it matters as much. You already can see mostly everybody anyway. His tier 3 grants him temporary extra attack damage and increased speeds. This is a passive feat, so you can continue to get it if you go on a streak, and that's a big bonus. His tier 4 has the MK Scorpion get over here vibes as it bleeds your opponent and provides damage while pulling them into a guard break, allowing you to get off a heavy in addition. It's another greatly unique feat, and you can really see how the devs are trying to have every added hero have unique items in their kit that hopefully is functional, fun, and gets players wanting to play the hero more. So if you're looking for a hero that can be aggressive and you want to be aggressive with and has some fun feats to work with, Ocelotl is right up your alley. That concludes the hybrids in For Honor at this time. Hope you're able to better decipher what fits you and why to make the game more enjoyable for you. Now, you heard me provide my thoughts on which combination of classes these hybrid heroes fit into. Do you have different thoughts or any thoughts on which hybrid is your favorite and why? I would love to hear your thoughts on For Honor's hybrids options in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really enjoyed doing this little series to cover all of For Honor's hero classes. It did take a little time, but it was still enjoyable to do. I just love keeping the conversation going with For Honor, and I hope you enjoyed it. That's all for this one. Until next time, y'all. Peace.